Welcome to class, everyone. Today, we're diving straight into what I like to call the ultimate survival curriculum. We are traveling way back, over 40,000 years ago, to look at how ancient humans lived. But we're going to look at it through a really specific lens, which is the daily roles of kids. I mean, imagine being a student in a world with literally no cities, no roads, and no electricity, where nature and the daily struggle to survive dictated absolutely everything you did. All right, let's just dive right into this explainer.
Think about a typical morning today. You wake up to a blaring alarm clock, maybe grab a quick bite from the supermarket, and head off to a physical school building. But 40,000 years ago, your morning started way before the sun even came up. You aren't waking up to an alarm, you are waking up to the sound of birds, rushing rivers, maybe the crackling of a campfire. Supermarkets? No way. There was only foraging. Traditional schools? Didn't exist. There was only one thing on the syllabus, and that was the immediate, daily fight to survive.
So here is our class schedule for today. Period 1, tribe and shelter. Period 2, foraging and hunting. After that, we'll go on a field trip for the Great Migration, followed by some electives in art and ritual, and finally dismissal and our ancestors' legacy.
Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial question. How exactly did kids learn 40,000 years ago? I want you to really put yourself in their shoes for a second. Imagine getting an education without classrooms, without a single book, and zero modern tech. Like, how on earth do you learn what to eat, where to safely sleep, or how to avoid a giant predator when there's no textbook or whiteboard to tell you what to do?
Well, the answer comes down to this really profound truth about the ancient world. There were no schools, but every single day was a lesson. Prehistoric kids learned their vital, everyday survival skills just by watching the adults and actively getting involved in the daily struggle. You definitely didn't sit at a desk. You learned by doing, by observing. You learned by mimicking the literal life or death actions of your parents and the elders in your tribe.
All right, the bell just rang. Period 1, tribe and shelter.
You can think of the tribe as their prehistoric homeroom. This concept of a super tight-knit community was the absolute bedrock of ancient life. We're talking 20 to 40 people. That was your typical family group size, just a small, intimate tribe living together. And in a class this small, yeah, there is no hiding in the back row. Absolutely everyone had a job, and that included the kids. Your survival depended entirely on the person next to you. And hey, their survival depended on you. Which brings us to their version of home economics. Now, some families got lucky and slept inside natural caves, but others had to build simple shelters from whatever they could find. Wood, branches, animal hides, leaves, just to stay protected from the elements. And the kids, they didn't just play in the dirt while the adults worked. No, they were carefully observing the construction. They were figuring out the structural integrity of branches, learning how animal hides could waterproof a roof. They were essentially taking daily architecture and home ec classes just by watching and helping out.
Moving right along to period 2, foraging and hunting.
Let's be real. Finding food was incredibly tough. It was a demanding, everyday task that took serious physical stamina and handmade tools. Let's break down this part of the prehistoric curriculum. For PE, the strongest tribe members were out tracking massive animals. Think mammoths, wild horses, deer. Then you had botany, where gatherers searched for wild fruits, mushrooms, seeds, nuts, honey. And crucially, you had to know exactly which ones were safe to eat. Then, shop class meant crafting stone spears and wooden tools from scratch, plus fishing and collecting shellfish. Through all of this, the kids were the ultimate apprentices. They closely mimicked these skills because, let's face it, a single mistake in prehistoric botany could literally be fatal.
They also had a really strict no-waste policy. Seriously, when an animal was hunted, absolutely nothing was thrown away. First, the meat was roasted over the fire for food. Second, the bones were meticulously shaped into tools. Third, the skins became clothing to keep freezing temperatures at bay. And fourth, even the animal's sinew was turned into strong ropes. Every single piece had a crucial purpose. Imagine a kid watching this whole process unfold. They aren't just watching a butcher. They're learning biology, resource management, and crafting all at the exact same time.
Okay, time for a field trip, the Great Migration.
See, ancient humans rarely stayed in one spot for long. They were constantly on the move, and the kids just had to keep up. These journeys could drag on for weeks, sometimes even months. Day 1 might just be packing up camp to follow a herd of migrating animals, but by week 2, the tribe could be hacking their way through dense, dangerous forests or crossing rushing rivers. And by month 1, they might be navigating steep, rocky mountains just to reach some open grasslands. They were always chasing fresh water and new food sources. These were exhausting treks that required massive teamwork from absolutely everyone, from the oldest elder right down to the youngest child.
But, as you can probably guess, this field trip was definitely not a vacation. Danger was literally everywhere. We're talking lions, wolves, bears, not to mention completely unpredictable, harsh weather. All of it threatened their survival on a daily basis. And this reinforces exactly why paying strict attention in this daily class was the absolute only way a kid was going to stay alive. Wandering off or losing focus, that wasn't just bad behavior. It meant coming face to face with a predator or freezing in the elements. Sticking together was the only way to survive.
Up next, electives, art and ritual.
You know, life back then wasn't only about brute physical survival. These people cared deeply for their families, and their lives were super rich in culture. The glowing campfire really acted as their ultimate evening classroom. As soon as night fell, everyone gathered around the fire to share stories, teach specific hunting techniques to the youth, sing simple songs, and pass down their traditions. This was the exact moment when history, practical knowledge, and those deep family bonds were cemented. It was this beautiful time of connection, where elders made sure the kids knew exactly who they were and how to survive the very next day.
And then there was actual art class. Some of humanity's earliest forms of art were these stunning, vivid paintings of animals and hunting scenes painted right onto cave walls. And obviously, they didn't have an art supply store down the street. They created these masterpieces using natural pigments, making paint out of charcoal and crushed minerals. Through these rituals and paintings, they honored successful hunts and showed that the natural world had a very special, profound meaning to them. They deeply respected nature, and they made sure to teach their kids to do exactly the same.
Finally, dismissal, our ancestors' legacy.
As we wrap up this explainer, I think it's time we reflect on the just incredible odds these people faced. Ancient life was brutally difficult. There were no hospitals to rush to if you got sick, no supermarkets to fall back on if a hunt failed, and yet humans adapted. They learned and they survived against all odds. Their courage, their incredible teamwork, and their sheer intelligence literally laid the foundation for the civilizations we live in today. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors fought every single day just to see another sunrise. And it is entirely because those ancient families and those observant, hardworking, prehistoric kids survived that you and I are here today enjoying warm meals and safe, cozy beds.
Which leaves us with this final, pretty profound question for you. Could you survive a single day in their classroom? It really makes you appreciate our modern comforts, doesn't it? So the next time you go to sleep safely at night, maybe take a quick moment to truly respect the daily fight of our ancestors. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next one.